So we watched Top Chef, or not Top Chef, Below Deck season 1, episode 1. How many times have you watched, say, season 1 of Below Deck?
I don't think I watch it as much as I watch some other seasons, but I've watched it more than 5 times.
Okay.
For sure.
That's awesome. Because I was watching it going like, whoa, this is great.
Oh, good.
But let's start. What have you been watching this week?
I've been rewatching Gilmore Girls lately. That's been my most recent thing.
Is there something about January? Because my other friend does a Gilmore Girls rewatch in January usually, and she was tweeting about it earlier, and she's like, "Oh my god, I'm Lorelai's age," and I was just like, "I have never seen that show."
I'm older than Lorelai, so that's great.
I've never seen that show, so I think I tried watching it once, and I was like, "They talk very fast."
They do.
So it was kind of a lot for me. This is before I watch shows with subtitles because I'm an old person now, and I watch everything with subtitles now, and it helps so much. My brother turned me on to doing that, and it's been great ever since.
It does make a big difference.
This week I haven't been watching much. My partner and I have been watching Better Call Saul. I'm doing a rewatch of that. She's never seen it, and she's also never seen Breaking Bad, so it's been kind of interesting to see the chronological order of doing that.
I don't watch Better Call Saul. My mom watched it, but she hadn't watched Breaking Bad. She binged Breaking Bad after she watched Better Call Saul.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I would kind of want to talk to her and see how.
Yeah. I'll set you guys up.
Got to talk to Patty about that. That's because, my plan is to be like, okay, after season 4, we have to watch Breaking Bad because then it'll make sense. And like, I'm a weirdo with that kind of stuff. But other than that, I haven't been really watching much. It's been a tiring week, so I've been like trying to go to bed early. But yeah, let's get into season 1, episode 1 of Below Deck, it's called Cool Your Jets. So
Cool Your Jet.
Being introduced to all these people was pretty good. Who is your favorite of this season?
It's hard for me to separate it by season because there are
just overall. You don't have to. I shouldn't ask.
There are people in this season who you'll continue to see, and there are people who you will never see again.
Okay.
So that's kind of interesting. I would say, like, rewatching it, Eddie and Dave are my favorites.
Okay.
What about you?
I liked Lee as the captain, as the no nonsense captain. Yeah, Eddie was good. I'm getting mixed up. Who's the young guy who was a captain at 19?
Is that Alex?
Yes, that's Alex. Yes.
Now, buzz cut thing.
The way he spells his name through me, Aleks, I was like, that was like, oh, whoa, okay. But I liked the kind of like conversation of like Lee posturing, like, oh, you're just like a young guy, and I was like, oh, there's gonna be tension maybe. But yeah, this episode was called Cool Your Jets, which I thought was pretty funny. So the episode description, I'm gonna read it because it's pretty funny. So this season 1 is called Honor. Is that what the
boat's
called? Okay, Honor. The boat is called Honor. Okay. The Honor crew welcomes the first group of charter guests, a gaggle of flamboyant fashion photographers.
Oh, wow.
Who prove to be a boatload of trouble. Kat makes a shocking discovery that forces her into an agonizing decision. Should she rat out the guests and ruin the charter, or risk serious consequences by turning a blind eye? Adrian chews out Sam for failing to respect her authority, but Sam refuses to back down, and the two stews butt heads. So
butthead.
Yeah. So I had to like they kind of they throw you in with the lingo, stews. Okay, like I'm catching up with that.
Stewardesses or stewards, and they're
okay
stews. And you have a chief stew and usually a second and third.
And the chief stewardess is Adrian, the one that's kind of like very serious. And I mean, they're all serious to a degree about their jobs, but was really was so one part of the episode, she was the one, right? Forgive me because I'm still getting used to the names. She was the one that was like changing clothes for all the guys, right?
Yeah, so when the gaggle of flamboyant people come
Photographers.
on,
Yeah.
Johnny Eyelash, his name was Johnny
Yeah,
Eyelash.
Johnny Eyelash. That would
Yeah, they're
I'm gonna name my next
photographer.
character in whatever Johnny Eyelash.
They're photographers and they're gonna have a photo shoot, but they want to use the stews in the photo shoots. So they're
Okay.
giving Sam a bunch of attention because she's tall and beautiful. And
Yes.
Adrian seemingly is a little jealous.
Yes.
So she begins to model all of their uniforms for the eyelashes.
Okay. So we'll get this out of the way. My history with reality TV shows, boy, I was watching The Bachelor and The Bachelorette for a good run there until I finally got really fed up with it and everything. What else was it? Like I watched stuff from time to time, but I was never like a real Housewives person. I watched clips and everything like that. I like the ASMR account that recreates stuff like that, but I was never like a huge, reality fan. You, on the other hand,
I'm an early adopter of reality. I was a big
yes,
Real World and Road Rules fan since
okay,
I
yeah,
was like 10 years old.
I was okay. I was never a road or a real world person. I was always a road rules person. And my first season, I kind of came to it late because my mom didn't let me watch because my
My
mother
mom
was an over.
watched it and let me watch it. There were
My-
things she didn't let me watch, but that wasn't it. No Love Line. Turn the TV
yeah.
off at 11, but you can
hmm
watch at 10 and 10.
I snuck Loveline
Me
in my
too.
room on the radio.
I did on the
And
TV at about volume 1 and stood next to the
yeah,
TV.
I had that like little dial that was like, okay, right there, that's the volume. Strangely enough, taught me more about all of that stuff than school ever did. Um, but yeah, my favorite season of Road Rules is probably Australia.
That's a great season. That's not that late. What is that, season 6, 5?
Something like that. Is there a way to watch those at all?
I haven't found Road Rules. Real World is on Paramount Plus, but not every season and not any of the seasons I want to watch. I want to watch from like 5 to
Yeah,
10, and they
yeah.
have like 1 through 4, 11, 12, 13, 14. Like they have random things missing. They did add New Orleans the first season because they did one of those. Real World's doing these, like, they call them homecoming, where they
Okay.
get the whole cast now in like 2020s
Oh,
back
interesting.
into the house. So they did New York, they did Los Angeles, and then they did New Orleans. They were able to get all of them back. So then somehow they released the original episodes. I've looked it up a bunch of times to figure out why. A lot of people say it has to do with music licensing.
Oh, interesting.
Like
Okay.
MTV didn't have the
Lights.
rights to a lot of the
Yeah,
music they use, so it's very difficult to remix or something
sure. I believe that.
themselves. Like
I
Doja has no original music in it, like the music they used to play, it's all just like license free now.
Oh, that yeah, okay. That totally makes sense. I watched I watched Las Vegas when they were all in, I think, was they in the stratosphere?
That season's not on either.
Okay.
Wait,
So that was
wait. Actually, there's 2 Las Vegas seasons. The one with Trishelle is on there, if that's the
okay.
one you're talking about.
I don't think so. I was not a real world person. I was like, oh, this is boring. I'd rather them sleep in a Winnebago and
I
I
get
don't
that.
like know what
They
I
have
was a
something to do
I
on
was a
the
boy.
weekend.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like my history with reality show. Also love all of the competition shows. I love Top
Mhm.
Chef, and when the new season comes, I really want to watch Top Chef.
I love Top Chef.
um
I love Project Runway as
Project Runway, I never watched it. I did try to watch the reboot kind of thing they had on Amazon. Did you watch that at all?
Making the cut. I'm not into
Yeah,
it
it
because
was
Project
not.
Runway is still on.
Yes, yes. I did not really watch making. I did not really like making the cut.
I didn't
Um,
either.
my cat is doing a run in right now, and
Deputy Dewey.
Dewey, what are we doing? Don't drink out of my water, please.
Luna's not the only one who does that.
So yeah, like so Adrian was like trying on different outfits, and they like and you know these very flamboyant. They never outwardly. They just said they were flamboyant and like
I think that Dave said that CJ said they were gay, or he likes
okay,
charters with gay men.
yeah, that's what the thing because they get more tips
Ugh,
apparently
ugh.
with gay men.
Okay. What do you think of Adrian saying that those uniforms that look like
the
knockoff
bo-
kimonos were Armani-esque, something a woman in a James Bond movie would wear?
I looked at that. I go, she said that looks like a James Bond. Like
No, girl.
like I yeah. Let's pump the brakes on that. Like and then the tall girl was
Sam.
Sam.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought she was super cool, super nice. Especially we'll get to it later when her and Adrian butt heads.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the charter's happening, and so do they pay for these charters, or is it like the show paying for them? I
I
don't.
have read that they get like either a major discount or the show does pay for it as like payment for being on the show, but that they are responsible for their tip.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, do we know how much they get tipped?
Well, in yes, we will know when they
Okay,
get.
so
Also remember we're watching something that's like 10 years old. So
that's true.
money
So my
has
partner used to work with a girl who was on the show about a year ago,
like
and
as a worked
as
on
a no, as a
a
guest, as
charter,
like
yeah.
a charter person,
What's her
and
name?
it was her name was
Oh,
Charity, and
Charity.
she has a wife.
Huh. I'll have to
Yeah, so apparently I have to like I'm gonna ask questions for next week so
okay.
I can fill us in
Thank you.
on all of that. But
That sounds slightly familiar.
yeah, so I I'm watching this and it's like it's very entertaining because one, I just want to know how all of this works. Like I'm a weird nerd who's like, okay, so how does this work? Like what do they do? Lee doesn't do what does Lee do other than pilot the ship? Does he do it? Like he I know he's the boss, but like he's
He's the
not like
boss.
on the show much, right?
He is this first season. This is the first season, so like things evolve a lot. Things they fall into more of like a pattern of the show. This is still very feels very new, but
Okay.
Lee will be on over time a lot more.
Okay. Good.
Is
Because I
that am
like
I
Lee.
supposed to not say like
No,
Lee
you're
still
fine.
is going to be on the show? Like
I'm looking at the
to
cast
be
of
honest, he's on the show for the entire
yeah, which makes me
series.
completely happy
Yes.
because so what we can get to it. The one of the stews finds a rolled up dollar. So okay, it eventually comes out that they find a baggie of white substance, the white substance, and a rolled up dollar bill.
Mhm.
Now, when they first found it, they just said white substance. I was like, okay, that like could be
White
anything.
powder.
And then they said white powder. Yeah, the white powder. And then they said with a rolled up dollar bill. I was like, oh, that's terrible. And then with a baggie next to it, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like
More and
come
more.
out with that. Come out with that first. And then I would be like, oh yeah, kick them off. And she was. I felt so bad for Kat. Kat was so distraught over telling Lee.
She didn't want to be, she kept saying she didn't want to be a rat.
Yeah, I don't want to be a rat. I don't want to rat out. And now the only thing, being a rat, whatever, the only thing I felt sympathy with and like empathized her, she was like jeopardizing her crewmates' tips.
Right.
which sucks. Like if I was in that position, I'd be like, oh man, like I don't know. What would you do? Would you be like Lee? What the fuck? Like,
I'm a big rule follower, so I would
mm-hmm,
definitely tell.
mm-hmm.
I would be so like, because what they could get in so much trouble, like
So much.
if something happened.
Yeah. I think I think I eventually would. I think I would. I like in my head. I'm like, God, how would I handle that? Like
I think Kat did it exactly right because she told Adrian she didn't go above,
chain of command.
right? Like Lee gave his whole speech about you don't go above your chain of command. She went right to
Mm-hmm.
her chain of command, and so did Adrian. I felt like they all handled it right.
So, so which one? Which of the guys said no? I would have just done this. I would
CJ.
have. Yeah,
What do you
CJ.
think of, first of all, what do you think about CJ?
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
Not a fan of CJ.
Sorry to make this about looks, but not as attractive as he thinks he
No.
is. He thinks he is like,
Really punching above his weight. He thinks
yeah, my
he is God's
goodness.
gift.
Yeah, and he just
It's
certainly isn't to me, and he needs to wash his hair. And he's asking his roommate to shave his back.
mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't, what's that?
When he asked his roommate to shave his back, I was a little.
Female roommate.
Yeah, his female roommate. Sorry. I is he the one that is in the open relationship or is that the other one?
Yes. He's in an
Yeah.
open
Why
relationship.
is it always those guys who, have, kind of look the same? They probably need to wash their hair, require back shaving.
Like he thinks he needs to be in an open relationship, like everybody's gonna want him. He couldn't
Yeah.
possibly resist.
Yeah. And oh man. Okay. I'm glad that we're on the same page
I
about
think you'll find as, we watch more episodes or more seasons that there definitely is like a cabin fever situation. Like, a 5 on land is an 8 at sea or something like that.
but yeah, we should keep tabs of like try to come up with the equation of like 5 on land is an 8 at sea. That's really funny. I'm just looking at their cabins and I'm a big guy. I would look at that and be like, okay, yeah, but like really where am I sleeping? Like I can't fit in here. That would
It's
be.
basically a bunk bed with like 2 feet to step out of, and their bathrooms are literally like showers. Like their toilet's basically
Yeah.
like in their shower.
I watched one season where the really tall guy was it John Luke?
John Luke JL.
Yeah, JL.
Oh, you watched that season of Sailing Yacht?
I watched some of it when it aired.
That's like the
And
best season ever of any Below Deck, I would
I
say.
felt so bad for that dude
I
because
think he
he
was
was
like
like
six,
sick.
seven.
He had 6'7", and he's like, "No, really, I can't sleep at all." And they were pissed at him
Hmm.
because he couldn't sleep, or he didn't do his night duty or whatever like that. And he's like, "Guys, I haven't slept at all." And they're like, "Oh, okay." Speaking of sleeping, Kat, runs up the chain of command, and so Lee. All of the they tell the guests, oh, there's trouble, we need to turn back. I'm like, guys, you couldn't come up with a better lie than like, oh, hey, I don't know what happened.
CJ did a good job when he said
Yeah,
there's a mechanical
totally.
issue. My favorite thing was that like the guest kept going, so this is just the land of no information? Is the
Yeah,
land of, he said it like 10 times, the
the
land of
land
no
of no
information.
information.
And they all
And
go,
those
uh-huh, yep, yep,
hmm
it's the land
yeah,
of no
totally.
information.
That's what the
Where we
boat's
are.
named is. And like so they turn back and they're going back. Man, Kat is just flipping out. Like we do not hear the end of it, how she's just agonizing over it. She feels bad and this and that. And
I did
everyone's
think
like
CJ was really sweet to her.
very, yeah. He actually but then he said in a
Behind
talking
her
head,
back.
he was like, shit, man, I would have just told them to keep it on the DL and I would have gotten a better tip out of it. One, that's assuming these guys wouldn't absolutely murder
This
like
gaggle.
tip over when they're all gacked out, like tip over and die. Falling overboard and nobody being any the wiser.
Yeah.
And two, like I can see them not being good tippers.
I
Something
know.
tells
You
me
never
that
know.
Yeah, something tells me these guys were not good tippers. Because he kept going like, I need to take a photograph of this girl. How is she going to get to me now? And in my head, I'm like, dog, like what? Like,
They made such a big deal too of pointing out that he was like wearing like a very dirty bathrobe.
yeah, all the
Dave
time.
kept calling it soiled.
A
It was
soiled bathrobe.
disgusting.
Oh my! When people describe something as soiled, it's
Like a
the
diaper.
most. It's the most upsetting. It's truly upsetting.
It's like
When I hear that.
MOIST.
Yeah, yeah, okay,
Soil. Maybe it's the oi. Maybe it's
yeah.
the
Maybe it's
OI
the
that we
oil.
don't like.
But I think of like when people use soiled, it's usually with a mattress, and I'm just like, that's just
Bed
not that.
sheets.
That doesn't need to be in my vernacular of things. Yeah, if his bathrobe was soiled, what else was? Like, come on. These poor stews have to clean everything. So do you know that do you know if they get turn down service every night? Is it
Yeah, they
like,
do everything. So they
oh my,
clean before, after, all day. They do their laundry.
they do their
They
laundry? Oh
yeah,
my
if
god.
they have laundry, they do turn down. Absolutely.
These people aren't getting paid enough. I
Definitely.
mean, they
They
probably,
basically live for tips. Like they're getting paid, but like they make their money in tips.
yeah. I don't see Lee shelling out a livable wage.
I don't think Lee is the owner or they have like a yacht owner
Okay,
and
yeah.
he is the captain of the yacht, but he's not paying them.
So it's like an Airbnb almost, but you are like Lee's like the landlord. Almost, right? Like,
Yeah, I guess so. Well,
okay.
or it's like a hotel.
Yeah, it's a hotel.
Like there's a
A mo-
manager and
yeah,
then there's housekeeping and then there's maintenance
that's a much better analogy than I.
and then like someone owns the hotel. I guess.
Okay, yeah.
Like
I
they're paying if it costs $100,000 to charter a yacht, Lee's not getting that money.
no.
The
I,
owner
I
of
would
the
think
yacht
I
is
would
getting.
think he's getting a good portion.
Yeah, yeah. If he's been, as Eddie said, on a boat since before some of them were born,
What kind of I want to know about Lee's back. Do we ever get any backstory on Lee?
we will definitely.
I can't
I
wait.
know all about him. I won't
Oh,
spoil it for
oh
you,
my
but
god.
I know his whole life. Don't spoil it for yourself.
I whoa. That make telling me not to spoil it for myself makes me like, okay, yeah. Lee Lee's the man. So they kick the people off. I wonder if they I so Lee gave him a whole spiel of like, hey, we found something, you gotta go. And these guys, like, they kind of took it fine. I
Which
expected a
to
little
me
more.
means that it was
Yeah.
cocaine, and
Yeah.
they were like,
It was
and there's a
totally
point where he's like,
cocaine.
"Don't say anything, just don't say anything,"
Yeah.
because it definitely was.
Yeah. And so this was filmed in 2013, or at
Mhm.
least it aired in 2013. So, like, yeah, a 2012/13 photographer who's going to take pictures of models.
Like maybe he's like Cobra Snake. Remember Cobra Snake? Like he's not shooting for Vogue.
No, no, he's like
He has like a
Maxim
blog.
or something. He has a blog.
It's a Tumblr.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, it's, these guys are probably going to have coke. It's okay. So is marijuana okay? Or is that not? No.
Nothing.
Okay. Whew. Okay. Lee runs a tight ship,
It's
literally.
not Lee. It's Maritime Law.
Oh, it's maritime. Sorry, I didn't know that. That's
Sorry for
maritime.
yelling at
Uh,
you. I'm
no, no, no.
protecting Captain Lee.
Yeah, no, I didn't know it was maritime law.
Well,
So
as a maritime expert, I know that it's
you're okay. You were in the Merchant Marines?
10 years of watching Below Deck of
Yeah.
every franchise has made me an expert. No, I was
Okay.
not in the Merchant Marine, not personally.
Okay. So on the way, so were they docked during the dinner, or were
Yeah,
they out? Okay, so
no,
they were
they're
docked during the dinner, and all the stews and everybody are eating
but
together.
they decide they're going to eat this. Chef Ben was going to prepare a lovely meal for the charter guests that he'll now prepare for the crew.
Oh. I forgot to touch on Chef Ben and how
What do you
he
think
was
about
all
him?
about his own shit. It seems like all the chefs on this show are like, no, I'm the fucking man. I will this and that. I am that. And it's
I
like,
mean,
yeah, I
you watch
get like,
Top Chef. That's what they're
yeah,
like.
yeah, that's what they are
A
like.
lot of them. They're either one way or the other, right? They think they're the best or they cry
Mhm.
every week.
There's this show on Netflix right now where all these chefs live in a house and there's like it's a cooking competition show, and the competition in like the first and like the preview trailer that plays, it's like the ticket, the bzz, 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 ticket that comes out where they in a restaurant, and the talking head goes, any chef knows that. And I was like, nope, not watching this. I cannot deal with chefs living in a house together, because the top chef does barely ever shows that stuff, because
Right.
I think they know they're all insufferable people.
So did
So
you
they're
find Chef Ben insufferable?
at the beginning, yeah, but then he's like, "No, I'll just cook for you guys." It's like
What
you're,
about when he said all that stuff? Then he said, that didn't sound arrogant, did it?
that I was like, "Come on, let's." You're a chef. Get out of here.
Ben.
So, while they were like cleaning the yacht or the vessel, the ship, I don't know. I'm gonna call it a bunch of different things.
You could call it any
Um,
of those things.
Sam grabbed a quick 10-20 minute nap. Um, and Adrian was pissed, like, oh my God, where is she? Blah, blah, blah. She's been off forever. And things came to a head at dinner, and they confronted each other. And I'm not going to lie, Sam's defense of one, it was my period, and
But that
two,
wasn't, she didn't say that.
oh,
CJ
she
said
didn't?
that.
Okay, then that's
CJ
completely my
was
mistake.
trying to cover up for her.
Okay, I misunderstood. I'm sorry. That's my bad, because but her defense of, yeah, I was like making my bed and then I was like, all of a sudden I was asleep. It's like, girl, you have to, you got to say, oh, I wasn't feeling good, I hit my head, I was, something other than like, yeah, I was like making my bed and then I fell asleep for 20 minutes. It was not that big of a deal. One, it wasn't that big of a deal, but
Adrian made it a big deal.
Adrian made it a big deal, and everyone's like, this is our first charter, and you're just coming out the gate like that. And I think it all stemmed from like she was jealous because Sam
Hmm.
is tall and everything like that. And man, it, I don't know. What did you think about the whole interaction?
I Adrian is way too serious,
Yes, she
but
has serious face.
Sam
I don't,
doesn't care.
yeah,
Sam is
it
like, her
was,
thing is not caring. Like,
I
I
don't even
have a
care. It's
bachelor's
like that.
of science and industrial engineering, and I sit in a cubicle for $30,000, and they
Yeah.
feed me cookies and cake, and I
Uh,
get fat. Like,
yeah,
shut up.
can we talk about that? They just make you eat cookies and cake at your cubicle job. I just needed more. It's like, oh my God, what?
Yeah, her thing is just not caring.
I don't even care. That's
And
like,
she doesn't. She doesn't care about anything. So she doesn't care about the chain of command. So she took a nap.
yep.
And Adrian's whole point was, even if it was an accident. I love when she was like, before you find yourself miraculously in your bed, let me know.
Yeah, if it
She
like,
was right. She was right.
but I think the way she went about it
Yeah.
was because, like, when I talk to my kids, I always like, you can't go straight at these people. It's like, hey, man, let's not throw the pencil at somebody's face. You can say you're frustrated and then like draw like a reason why you're frustrated, or like do like tell them you're frustrated. Please don't create a big scene which makes me have to get involved and do paperwork, and
Yeah.
let's just avoid this.
And even Alex was like, we're at our first dinner together. Like,
Yeah.
you're killing the vibe,
Yeah.
Adrian.
Why be so confrontational? Yeah.
How
I
many
can't.
times have you wanted to tell your superior, cool your jets?
So many. Whenever I think cool your jets, I think of like Grease and like stuff like that. Like cool your jets, man.
I
Like
definitely say cool it to my students on a
I do this. I go. I
frequent
do a
basis.
lot of pump the brakes.
Okay.
I'm using like a pump the brakes action with my hands for
Yes.
listeners. Um, I do a lot of whoa easy. I do a lot of that. Yeah, easy. Come
Cool your
on. What do we do?
jets.
Like the kid, like the kids will throw an f bomb, and I'll be like, "Oh, what are we doing here? Come on!" I'm like, I like become Italian at some point, like when they do that. But
Mamma mia.
yeah, but yeah, like I've wanted to tell supervisors like, "Hey, man, cool your jets,
Cool your jets.
cool your
That's how you
jets."
know she really doesn't care. Because she
Yeah,
straight up
that's
told her boss on like night 2 of work, cool your jets. I had to take a nap when I was,
uh so bad. I
and
like,
I'm taller than you are.
and then poor cat is still like, "Oh my
Mhm.
god, I didn't know I was gonna get a tip." It's like, girl, stop reminding everybody
I
that you
know.
ruined their tips.
I
Oh,
know.
okay. Well, do you have any final remarks about our journey into season one? Are there any
Oh,
highlights that you're looking forward to me watching or rewatching for you?
yeah, it's fun to see how they lay the groundwork for something that lasts for another 10 years.
Oh, I can't. Yeah.
And
I want
like
to see how things change.
there are multiple people on this season who you will see again and again and again, and it's fun to think of how they began.
I'm looking at the names of these episodes coming up
Mhm.
and like, dude, that's a dude. That's episode 3.
That's a
I'm living with the devil is episode 5. Naughty Yachties is
mm,
episode 7. Sleeping with the Enemy is episode 6. I'm very excited for our foray
me too.
into this. Every season. Oh, every season ends with a special with Andy Cohen.
Yeah, so the
Oh,
reunion episode.
that's even better. Okay, well, we're we're gonna be covering Below Deck week to week, and I can't wait. Tune in next week. We'll have episode 2. It's Not Easy Being Green from Below Deck season 1. Have a nice week, everybody.
Bye.